Hi guys, and welcome back to Pass and Move, and for today's episode, the game against Tondela in the Taca de Portugal. So just as we mentioned in the last episode, we do have of course a bunch of games that we played in between, so let's go through them one by one. So not really pleasant results so far since that game against Chavez in the Premier Liga. We did draw against Porti, I'm just going to call them Porti, in the League Cup. Not the greatest of results, but of course it's still very early on. If we beat Setúbal and Estoril, we should go through quite comfortably. Last season we didn't manage to qualify into the semi-finals, and Sporting of course won that competition, but hopefully this year we can go one step better of course and qualify. That is the minimum expectation. Another news, I suppose, we've qualified just like we said before. We qualified for the first knockout round, first leg against Leicester, so the board are happy of course because we've met expectations, but I think we should be able to beat Leicester in the first knockout round and hopefully qualify for the second and just go one step further. Of course last season we did reach the second knockout round, so I'm hoping this season we can go even further than that, but at least the board will be happy with that. What followed was a very disappointing loss to Sporting, 1-0 away from home. Bas Dost managed to score in the 16th minute. They also had a player sent off in the 80th, but unfortunately we couldn't capitalise on that later on, and so they came away with quite a significant result. Against Ajax, a game that didn't really matter at all, not anything that had any significance, I suppose, and we drew 3-3 away from home. Just a crazy game. Raniel, Eduardo and Hassan on our score sheet, and for Ajax they managed to, every time we scored they managed to peg us back basically, but they did quite well to recover really. But yeah, a game that didn't matter. They ended top of the group regardless of what was going to go on. I was hoping to come away with a win, but the players put a decent performance, and 3-3 isn't the end of the world of course for a game that didn't matter. What did matter was the following game against Moreirense, and that was a solid 4-1 performance. Of course a clean sheet would have been better, but we did come away with the result and the 3 points, which mattered, especially after Sporting had beaten us. It was very important to bounce back in the Premier Liga. Any other competitions didn't matter too much. But yeah, just to show you the league, Porto have managed to climb all the way up again. They're in the first position after starting off relatively poorly. Sporting are the ones who are missing out currently on Champions League football, and Benfica are a single point away from us. But of course we're just 2 points away from Porto, so who knows after this game being played, we'll see. Porto also have a game to play against Belenenses, so we'll get to know ahead of, we'll actually be playing, what was this? Oh, okay, that's really far back. Alright, let's see these fixtures. They're actually playing Olahanse, who are mid-table, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what will happen. Maybe they'll lose. Sporting play Ferreira, and the Benfica are playing Porto as well, so I guess the toughest of the games is probably ours in this fixture, so it's even more important for us to win. Then again, I'm saying that when we're playing in the League Cup. Never mind, in the Taça de Portugal. I thought it was Premier Liga. Alright, so we do play them further down there, but hopefully by then we'll be way ahead. Either way, so it's the Taça de Portugal, and I think we can just go ahead straight into kickoff. We'll give you some updates along as the game is being played. And this is the team we'll be going with for today. We'll get into explaining that a little bit more once the team warms up as well. So yeah, overall not a bad period at all, just a disappointing loss to Sporting. The draw's not the end of the world. The Europa League game didn't matter, and we did get the win in the second Premier Liga game, so all in all not bad at all. But hopefully you'll see some more improved performances, some better games ahead, and hopefully that starts with today away from home against Tondela. Our expectations are to at least qualify for the 6th round, and Tondela will be trying to stop us from doing that. So you know, we need to try and prove that we can actually beat them as well. They are far away from us in the league, but you know, cup competitions, that kind of all goes out the window. And it's all about who wants it more and who wants to qualify more. So we've gone with Hassan, the first choice striker, of course, not necessarily in the best of form, but we do have to try and trust him a bit. Raniel also didn't have the best of games last time around, so Hassan will get the nod for today's very important game. It's a cup competition as well, so not too much pressure on him. Hopefully he can perform as well. Moreira just starts because it's a cup competition. We're rotating him as the goalkeeper as always. Rasus, Jubal, Paulino and Juancar are our first choice. Paulino, of course, is first choice right now because our main choice, Marcelo, right back, is out injured for quite a long time. We'll get into that in just a second. Fran Sergio playing instead of Assis because Assis was suspended. Fran Sergio gets to play because he played in his last game quite well, so we just keep up that good form. Danilo and Fonte, first choice centre midfielders as well, ball winning midfield, advanced playmaker, kind of straightforward, just as are the decisions to pick Eduardo and Santos as well. So I think we can tell our players to kick off what they were doing last time. It was a great result, 4-1. If we have more of the same today, we can't really complain. And it's more about trying to progress in this competition that we didn't manage to do last year. So last year we kind of had some poor cup competition performances other than Europa League. We really did fail in the Portuguese League Cup as well as the Taca de Portugal, and this season hopefully that will change that around. We did meet expectations in the Europa League once more, but these so-called smaller competitions is where it really matters, in Portugal at least. So Eduardo was injured initially when we first started off with the 4 games that we played between the 2 episodes, and he was injured, so he was a big miss actually in truth, because whenever he plays this season he's been in incredible form, and so we did miss him quite badly. But the even bigger miss was of course Marcelo, who's out for ages. He's actually out for a good 3-4 months. Paulino's capable, but of course he isn't Marcelo, who's better in his ability, so hopefully Paulino can continue stepping up as a capable backup. Against Porto, the game was disappointing, but we were favourite, especially because we were favourites. But it was away, of course, so we drew despite dominating. So hopefully we can punish the other teams in that group, and that way, the result against Porto won't matter too much. So far, it's half time, and we haven't had anything happen yet. So maybe we can improve. Maybe we can motivate our players to make a difference here. We've pushed up into control already, so it should be more attacking. Dominated the shots and shots on target, even possession as well. And that's happened way too often last season. This season we've improved, but there have been still a couple of games where we've dominated but haven't capitalized. So can we capitalize today through Wilson? He loses the ball out to Montero, and they're probably going to do the counter. Fran Sergio, though, in a good position. He heads it down for the left back Juan Carbo, who leaves it. So Wagner's over here trying to start a counter with his team. But Danilo puts in one hell of a tackle despite him being on a yellow. So yeah, we played well in that Porto game. Jeff as well, in particular, did have a good game, but unfortunately he's just not as good as Danilo. So when we don't have Danilo around, because he was suspended for that game, our team kind of suffers. He's a very key player for us so far this season, and maybe he can prove it here for you guys today. Fonte does on the ball, plays it safely back to the anchorman Fran Sergio, and here's Danilo on the ball. What can he do? Santos through to Hassan. Is he going to score? Yes. How can I doubt that? There you go, 1-0 to us. I think we put replays on. Yeah. So yeah, the game against Sporting was of course very, very big, and actually Hassan had a very poor game that match actually. He was the starting striker that time, had a very poor performance, which thankfully he's put behind him today. I had a word with him as well, told him that he really needs to start scoring, and I have faith in him to get back to scoring, so thankfully he's repaid that faith. But that day though, he was very poor, and we had more shots and more possession. And despite them going 10 minutes down, just couldn't do it. Not enough. We don't have enough quality, I suppose, in comparison to Porto. As pointless as the Ajax game was, like I mentioned, it was a pretty tight match. It was a bunch of back and forth, really just highlights, end-to-end stuff, really. And I guess the 3-3 draw kind of personifies that, so it's good. It wasn't, a result that neither team deserved. But yeah, as long as we met expectations in Europe, it didn't really matter in the end of the day in terms of result or points or whatever. Let's see, let's just need to make some substitutions. So Taca and Assis will hopefully basically keep both our points, trying to be attacking with Taca and also trying to keep the clean sheet with Rafael Assis coming on. We'll make a last substitution hopefully soon. We'll take off a player that deserves to be rested. But first, Juan Car with the ball, throw in to Chacas. Sets up Wilson quite well. Does the same for Paulino. Is he going to take a shot? No. Instead, he plays this very open goal for Santos and he misses it entirely. And that's the second clear-cut chance of the game. And hopefully that doesn't come back to haunt us. But anyways, the very important Premier League game was the one right after the Ajax game, and we managed to win in the end. But yeah, it was even more important because Porto managed to bounce back and go to the top of the table, and at the same time, Sporting lost their game. After we lost to them, they managed to lose that game. So it was very important for us to bounce back and actually close the gap that they opened up by winning, by beating us. So it was even more important. And thankfully we did win that time, and Danilo proved his worth that game, and Raniel also played quite well that game too, but Hassan has proven it. Oh, there you go, Danilo just getting sent off. Speaking of, needs to be careful as a ball-winning midfielder. He gets suspended far too often for us and misses out on crucial games because of that. So I think no choice but go into counter, and I've made all 3 subs. Alright, so what we'll do is this, and Hassan will just have to deal with it. I'm even going to go into contain. They haven't really done anything damaging, but I just don't want to risk it. I'm pretty sure they're going to go into attacking as well. So if we can contain them for the next 10 minutes, that's perfect. But yeah, Raniel, he seems to have adjusted to the team quite well lately in comparison to Hassan, who's in his second season in charge. Well, not in charge actually, we're in charge for the second season, but yeah, Hassan has a second season under his belt, so he should be performing better than Raniel. But to be fair to him, of course, he came back from a heavy injury, so slowly he'll get there, and hopefully today's a start of good things, because Raniel is a decent backup, but of course he is no Hassan, who is a leading player for the division, I think. No, he's just good apparently. That fluctuates quite often. But yeah, that dominant win was very good for us because, as you can see, back-to-back wins. So it's a perfect scenario. Really set us up quite well for this cup game, and it was a dominant win. And of course, very important for us to bounce back. So I think that's pretty much it. Europa League, we drew Leicester, so it's going to be a very interesting game, very exciting game, of course, because of what Leicester have done in the Premier League before, and it's quite good to see them in the Europa League actually. They must have done well last season in English Premier League. We can't really see that, I think, so it'll be interesting to face off against the former Premier League champions and see whether they can do anything against us in the Europa League. So it doesn't really show, got a new manager, but it won't say where they are in the league, and I'm pretty sure the schedule just shows Europa League stuff. But they started, I think, in the same third qualifying round as we did, and yeah, we've got 2 legs against them, and we go away from home first. So hopefully we can perform away from home. If we get just a single goal and keep a clean sheet, I'll be happy with that. But anyways, I think that's kind of all for today's episode. A decent game in the end, the 1-0 result. We do qualify into the Taça de Portugal 6th round, and we finally met expectations in another cup competition, so that's perfect for us. And maybe we can go the step further and maybe get another cup competition under the belt. I can't remember. Rio Ave won this one, last year's one. So after the 6th round, the semi-final and finals, the 6th round is kind of more like a cup competition. It's a draw, so it's not really a tree where we play against particular people. But the teams that did qualify, Rio Ave, FCP, Vidstable, 2 games rather, still yet to be played. Chavez have went through, and Ferreira as well. So some decent teams in here. Thankfully, Sporting are knocked out of the competition, but the other, and I think Benfica were knocked out earlier. So it's just, you would say the favourites are either Braga or FCP. So let's find out where Benfica got sent. Where did they lose? Oh, they lost against Vidsetable. Tough team, to be fair to them. But hopefully with just us and Porto, in the 6th round, maybe we can, edge by Porto. Hopefully we don't draw them already, and if we get someone else who's kind of easier, I would expect us to go further. And I think that will be all for today's episode. So as always, we'll be back in 5 games time. So that's Rio Ave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll be playing Firenze in the Premier League. We already have 2 Premier Liga games in between those, so hopefully we'll be in a better position when we face off against this team away from home. And we also have the 2 League Cup games to be played, and if we do win both of them, of course we should technically qualify, and if that happens, that's perfect for us. And straight into the semi-finals, I believe. So it'll be good. We'll hopefully be well placed in the cup competitions, and hopefully maybe even won one before we face Leicester. If not, then we're getting into some serious business now. We're getting into the winter period where things are really kicking off now, and hopefully we can sustain some good form. Every time we just about get into some good form, we either draw or lose. We're not too inconsistent, but hopefully if we can get a really nice run of winning games, that will work in our favor. So anyways, if you did enjoy today's episode, then please do hit the like button and subscribe for more daily Football Manager 2017 content. And as always guys, thank you all very much for watching.